Howdy, Beeflowbart here, and welcome back. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and set up the Battle Royale pack with the Animation Starter pack. Got both of them in here already, and this is reminiscent of a RPG 2. Trigger, Hammer, and Iron Sights. RPG 7 move to Optics. Alright, so we got the map loaded up. Everything all lovely. No lighting build done yet. But not worried about lighting at this point. I'm going to go ahead and set up world settings. And we won't have any yet. So, what we need to do is, let's go ahead and look at what we got to work with. The Animation Starter Pack is going to have a character blueprint, and it's going to have the animation blueprint. If you look, we don't really have a game mode. So to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add feature or content pack. I'm going to add third person and add a project. Alright, so now what we have is our content. We have animation starter pack, geometry, which we don't really need, mannequin, we got polygon battle royale, third person and third person blueprints. So now if we came in here and did third person game mode, but then change our default pawn class to UE4 ASP character, if we did that, then what we will get is that other one. So if I hit play right now, there is no player start, and you see I have a mouse cursor. I hate that crap. But we can walk around. Notice the little crater you can dip down into. That's nice. Walk in. That's lovely. Here's issue number 1. We'll start looking at these issues here after we get our characters walking around in the map. There's some collision issues, and as far as I remember, it's actually with the glass and not with the building. Well, let's test that theory really quickly, and then we'll start setting up a character. We can't get in because the doors are closed. Okay, so not focusing in on the map, let's go ahead and start getting our character set up. First thing I want to do, and I didn't make this part of my multiplayer, which I probably should have, but we're going to make this a single player game. Okay. Right click, new folder, character? Yeah. Inside of our character folder, we're going to set up a new folder, animation, animation, Tommy. We need another new folder, mesh, another new folder, probably not going to need that one, but right now we need the mesh, and I'm going to do this a certain way so that I can have multiple things. In the animations, I'm going to go ahead and set up a new folder called unarmed, and another new folder called armed. The next thing I'm going to do is go to my polygon battle royale, go to my meshes folder, characters. Now you got characters, you got attachments, and you're going to have pickups. Attachments are going to be things like your beard, your bandana, your earphones, your eye patch, or glasses, things of that nature. We'll revisit that here shortly, but let's look at the pickups, and that's going to be armor. Okay, so we'll come back to that again. Inside of our characters root folder, we have all these skeletal meshes. Okay, we're going to ignore for right now the armor, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our SK_CHR, whatever, our skeleton, our actual skeleton, and I am going to left click, drag it, drop it into my mesh folder, and select copy here. Now I'm going to hit F2 and I'm going to rename this to SK_polygon. This is going to be my root skeleton that I'm going to do all of my work on. Okay. Next thing is I go back into that character folder and I'm going to select the characters, the actual people, and not the armor right now. But damn it. Yeah, I'm just going to select the skeletal meshes for all of the characters. Now, with all of those selected, I'm now going to right click and I'm going to go to skeleton and assign skeleton. This should come as no surprise to anybody that's watched any of my other videos with Synty assets. And I'm going to select it, hit accept. And I'm going to have to do this for all of them. But since I had them all pre-selected, it's just a matter of just doing this until that window doesn't come up anymore. So you're going to end up doing this for each one of them. And if there's any, and there's not going to be, any problems between them, then it would come up here. But the only reason why I'm doing this is so I'm not modifying my original skeleton. I'm going to be doing things to this new skeleton that is going to have things like a main hand, an offhand, location for glasses, sockets for different things. And I don't want to mess with my original, so I can do it this way. So now if you hit save all, save selected, it's going to take a minute, and then go back to my mesh folder, open up my skeleton, and some things we need to do here. Now at the Battle Royale pack, it's not pre-set up for this. We need to click on select rig. If you don't have this tab here, click on here and this will come up. So this needs to be selected as select humanoid rig. Okay. Your character is in a T-pose. That's something we also have to remember. I'm going to change it from the 70s female. Got business male. It doesn't really matter here. Goth female. Let's go with mercenary male. Apply to asset. Okay, that's important that you click apply to asset. This is going to be my default mesh that's applied to that skeleton, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, the next thing we have to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up my unarmed animation, which is going to be simple. I'm going to go into my mannequin folder. I'm going to go into my character mesh, and then go into UE4 mannequin skeleton. I need to select humanoid rig, make some changes to my skeleton. So I'm going to click on the upper arm and I'm going to rotate it up 50 degrees. I'm going to select my lower arm, I'm going to lower it 10 degrees, rotate it back 30 degrees. Then I'm going to go to the hand, rotate it up 10 degrees. Do the same thing on the other side. Upper arm up 50, lower arm down 10, back 30, hand up 10. Now I need to select modify pose, use current pose, save. We're going to be doing this again, so don't worry if you missed it. You can always come back to it, or we'll see it here in just a minute. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is go to our character. Our animations folder. I'm going to select the animation blueprint. I'm going to hit F2. I'm going to do Control C, and then I'm going to click off of it somewhere. I've just copied the name. I'll show you why I'm doing that here in a second. Now right click on it and retarget animation blueprint. Duplicate animation blueprint and retarget. Select our polygon character. See, both of them are now in T-pose. Everything looks lovely. And I want to, in the replace box, I want to Control V, and it's going to paste in the animation blueprint, third-person animation blueprint. And we'll replace that with unarmed. So this is going to be my unarmed animation blueprint. I'm going to select change. Now I want to find my character folder, animations, unarmed, select OK, and retarget. Now we're good to go. I'm going to do save all, save selected. Now we have our Synty character in an unarmed animation pose. That's going to be important for later on. So, and that's going to be our primary when we don't have a weapon drawn or we don't have a weapon equipped. Then we're going to be in the unarmed state. Okay? That is perfect. We're done. We're technically capable of going into our character folder. And the other one that I wanted to do instead of material, is at F2, let's call this blueprint. So if I go into that folder, there's nothing. So I want to take the we can minimize the polygon folder. Third person BP, go to blueprints. Now we can copy this one over, or we can use this one right here that's in this. And I'm actually going to use this one. And I hate to move it because it sometimes breaks. So let's drag it over here to the blueprints folder. And I'm actually going to move it here. And let's see if it can avoid breaking it. Because if it doesn't break, then we can rename it. And it will fix it inside the animation blueprint. So okay, now that we have this selected, let's go ahead and open up this. We have a UE4 mannequin right here. It's not this. It's the same, but it's another version of the same one. So we need to go back into our mesh folder in this one and open that up. And you see he's in a Y pose. We need to select humanoid rig. Do the exact same thing we did before. Select the upper arm of 50. Lower arm down 10, back 30. Hand up 10. So we're doing exactly the same thing we did on the other one, because each one of them have their own separate mannequin and their own skeleton. And modify pose, use current pose, and save. Now if we go to our root folder of the animation starter pack, we now can scroll down and we have this UE4 ASP underscore hero blah 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 blah. Now let's hit F2, Control C, click off of it, right click on it, retarget, SK polygon. We're going to replace, bang, and we're going to replace it with armed ABP. We're going to hit change, character folder, animation, armed, and OK, and retarget. This is only going to give us our blend space, our animation blueprint. We're going to have idle for crouch and for standing with hip fire mode selected. We'll see that here in just a second. So save all, save selected. You know, if we look and just pick one. Now if you look, we have a problem. The hand position is off. We can fix that. There's a couple ways of going about fixing that, but we'll work on that in just a minute. We just wanted to get there. So in theory right now, our character, we can start to minimize some of these extra things here. You know, it's hard to kind of keep up with what you're doing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my blueprints folder for my character, the one that I'm doing, and I'm going to set color, and I'm going to do 0, 0, 1, so we have a nice bright blue color, and OK. So now if I want to find that blueprint folder, it's a blue, so go right to it. My UE4 character, I'm going to hit F2, and I'm going to call this player underscore base. Change it here, okay? Whenever I go to my armed and go into my armed animation blueprint. What we're going to need to look for now is we changed it. It automatically updated it in here. Cast to player underscore base. And if you look here, cast to player base. Beautiful. Everything is delightful. So now if we go to our blueprint folder again, open up our character, we're going to have another issue. There is no input action crouch. Alright, no problem. Let's delete that. We want the C key to be our crouch key. Keyboard C, enter. But here's another thing. I will show you what this looks like. This is currently set up for momentary crouching. So now if I compile and save, should be good to go. And if I make sure that I do player underscore base and hit play, we haven't changed our character around yet. So if I hit crouch, it's momentary crouch. I don't want a momentary crouch. I want it to toggle. So I'm going to hold down the alternate key and left click on both of these. And I'm going to do a flip flop. And not just the stylish footwear. Yeah, I haven't said that stupid joke in a while. When we hit it the first time, it puts us in crouch mode. Hit it again, it takes us out of crouch mode. So compile, save, and now go in here and hit it, and free. We're crouching until we hit the key again and we stop crouching. So the next thing, let's go ahead and fix our viewport. There's a problem. This ain't our character. Let's go to our mesh, change it from SK mannequin. We want to be sports bra female. Yeah. We redneck male, military male. Let's be the mercenary male. You can see he's in T-pose. So we go to our animation class. Let's go to unarmed. Okay. He's working. Compile and save. Look at the gap over his head. That's not right. So if we look at our capsule component, it's set at 100. Let's set that at 90. Now, go to our mesh and let's move him up. Now if you look, our character is slightly hovering over the ground. So we're going to have to fix that. I've already moved him once, but let's go ahead and if we look, you can see the gap from here to here. We have snapping on. Let's turn off snapping. And let's bring him down to about right there. I know this could be roughly 88, but now our feet are on the ground. We see our capsule, and it's a lot better than it was. It's not perfect, but if we have a helmet on or something like that, that'll kind of make up for it. We need to next go in here and click on our capsule component, check hidden in game, compost, and save. Okay, so we are in our unarmed state. We're walking on the ground. In fact, we're still hovering a little bit. Let's go ahead and put that at negative 88. This will be good enough for now. So, I hate this mouse cursor bug. Don't know why, but this animation blueprint always works, but I'm having some issues with stuttering with his movement. I don't like that. Don't normally have that problem. And he's still hovering a little bit. Okay, so what if we changed over to our viewport, our mesh? Let's change over to our armed animation blueprint. This one now has crouch in it. So now I can crouch. But we're not going to be crouching when we don't have a weapon in our hands. We haven't set up a weapon yet. So, a quick look at this. First off, let's open up the door. You click on the door, and thank you, Synty. The pivot point for the door is in the correct location. So when you pivot it, look, it pivots on the hinge. But let's click on the window. And I believe it's going to be the window that's going to be the problem. Click on the magnifying glass here. Boop, and then double click on it. And hey, I don't see anything. Oh, because there it is. It's that nice pretty glass. And it's for 8 windows. If I click on collision and show the simple collision, that looks good, actually. It's the individual windows. So that's not the problem. Oh, let's go back to our character really quickly. I want to keep him in the unarmed animation. Because we don't have a gun yet. So what happens now if we click on this guy? The building itself. Now we click on the magnifying glass, go to that. Now here's the problem. You have all this different area here. You have the rooftop. You have first floor and second floor. You have stairs. You got all kind of areas that need collisions. If you look at the simple collision, that looks good. This is the latest version of the asset pack. Alright, that looks fine. Yep, looks good. So what's keeping us from getting in there? Play, it's going to play from here. Something is keeping me from going into the building. Let's look at another thing on our character here that I forgot to address. Look at our viewport. Our capsule is a little bit too wide. Capsule component, let's make it 30. It's going to help us with getting through doors and stuff. But we can't get through. Something is blocking us. But if we look at the building, everything looks okay. If we look at the glass, that should be it right there. Look at the glass. Alright, it's hard to see, but I can see it. Checking my collisions. The first thing I'm going to try is with it selected here. This is going to pertain to the one in the map. Go to my details panel, and I am going to select collision, no collision. And that was it. It was a collision with the glass. I don't like this animation acting like that. Stairs are fine now. And we just fell through the floor. So we keep falling through the floor. Go upstairs and... yeah. So let's look at the house. Alright, so collision But look at the simple collision. Huh. I'm not seeing a green line. Alright, Cindy. Come on. Did good on everything else. But for some reason, you're still having some problem with the glass on this building and with missing the floor. Alright, so temporary workaround. Synty Studios, love you guys, but you guys gotta fix this. Short-term fix. Collision complexity. Use complex as simple. I hate doing it this way because it's going to load up the map a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the back door. Now if we go in here, walk upstairs, yay, we don't fall through anymore. Ah, forgot a door. This thing is also on this map. All the doors are closed. No big deal. But one of the things I usually do whenever I'm using this for testing things is I'll go in and I'll actually open up all the doors. At some point, you can actually create your own working door system. And then you end up replacing the doors with blueprints. Which is not a big deal, but you can walk over to the door, hit E, and the door opens, we'll say. It's actually a good thing. If you don't want people getting in the buildings, that's one thing. But I damn sure like it whenever asset packs come and they have they have doors that you can open or close to allow or disallow access to a building. If you don't want people to get in, leave the damn door closed. But I think a good battlefield area should have doors that work. So I'm all for them. So I would actually go in here and just, for now, open up all your freaking doors on the entire map. So you can run around and make sure that all the collisions are working correctly. Since I did the fix on this one, I didn't do the fix on the glass on all of them. So if I try to go on this building, it looks the same as the other one. I can't get in because it's the glass issue. So I'm going to go ahead and just go to the glass. And short-term fix for this. Collision preset, no collision. And then save. That should disable collision across the board for that glass. So now we're good. Now we'll walk upstairs, check this. Yay, we don't fall through, and we can walk into the outside balcony. So yeah, that's the basic of getting set up with Unarmed Animation Blueprint. There's some tweaks that need to happen with it. There's some things you're going to need to do to polish it out. Alright, they're being noisy over there. So we go back in here, and let's go ahead and put it back in mesh armed. Oh Lord, they're getting noisy over there next door. And okay, they're having a pool party. And yes, they did invite me. I did a playable demo on this map with some shooting. Never did finish doing all the shooting systems to it, but you had some zombies walking around, and I never did finish the entire systems on it. Have somebody have finished projects, you know. I'm not going to open up all of them right now. It would take me forever to go through and do all of them. But the reason why I like this one is we do have tanks in here and one of the cargo trucks. Okay. So the idea of these trucks is there's different colors as well. I'm actually going to save this map. There's a motorcycle. You've got some cars. Actually, fun little thing that I did with the cars too was I put one right there, but with these yellow cars, I created a different version of it because you have a nice clean version of this yellow car, and you have this dirty version, and then you have a blown up version of this car. And what I did was I went through and made it to where when you're shooting it or if it took damage, it went from clean yellow to this dirty to then to the blown up state and had smoke coming off of it. Got an armored car. But the reason why I like this asset is you can get Hummer right there, and you got Dune Buggy. But what I want to do with this, and you got the Russian tanks. That looks kind of like a T-55. Road wheel's a little bit off. Yes, there is supposed to be a gap in between them, but the gap between this wheel and this wheel and the gap between this wheel and this wheel is different. And there should be a gap between this one and this one more. This should be forward a little bit. So you have a smaller gap here and then a larger gap here between these two wheels and these two wheels. And then these are relatively close, but not that close. Not being super picky, but if you could make your road wheels just a little bit smaller. The road wheel is this whole package here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 road wheels. Damn it. And then you've got your drive sprocket here in the back because the engine's in the back and transmissions would be in the back. And then you have your tensioner wheel here. Don't want anything selected. So the tensioner wheel, usually you would see like maybe like a shock system or a torsion bar here, but you would have a system here where you could tighten it up, where you can move this wheel back and forward so that it tightens up the tension of the track itself. So you got your drive wheel, tensioner wheel, and road wheels, and then you have your track that goes around. These are reactive armor plates. These are smoke launchers, infrared light, regular spotlight, spare fuel tanks. You got a couple tow cables here. Yeah. There's like, if you look at the Abrams style tank, they're over here. Same basic principle. Drive wheel, road wheels, and your tensioner wheel. In the Army, in the military, in U.S., you have what's called MOS, military occupational specialty, or whatever the hell. Yeah, the MOS is like 11B was my primary, which was infantry, and I had multiple secondaries, like 11 Mike, which was Bradley armor fighting vehicle or infantry fighting vehicle. So it was qualified on the Bradley, the 113, Deuce and a Half, 5-ton, and a bunch of different vehicles, and Humvee, Jeeps. Yes, there were still Jeeps whenever I first got in. But one of my secondaries was 11 Hotel, which was Tank Buster. So you start learning, and it's been a long time, so I'm not 100% on my identifications, but learning to identify the difference between this tank and an M60A3, for instance, because we were still using M60 tanks whenever I got in the military. We hadn't got the M1 Abrams yet. So knowing how to tell between a friend and foe and between the different tanks, so you weren't trying to blow up the wrong tank, because that usually causes problems when you blow up the wrong tank. So, yeah. So we learned how to kill tanks. 11 Charlie, which was mortars, but 11 Hotel and was my primary secondary, if that makes sense. Primary was 11 Bravo Infantry, secondary was 11 Hotel, Tank Buster, and then 11 Mike, which was the Bradley, and then 88 mic, which was truck driver, and then there was some other ones to run in there. Everything from I was a frickin' mail clerk to captain's driver or commander's driver, and I did a bunch of different jobs while I was in. But your primary MOS is what you're known for. What's your MOS? It was 11 Bravo. If you were Special Forces, it would be 11 X-Ray. There's just so many different MOS numbers. And I think that jaggedness is actually my computer. I'm going to have to purge the system soon. Okay, well, I want to get everybody set up with being able to use the animation starter pack. So we have animations for being armed. Was going to do some stuff on death, and attaching weapons and sockets and so forth. I'll do that in a separate video. I actually will do that tomorrow, where I can actually break it down into short videos instead of into the live streams. I'm actually going to eat something and get ready for bed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a Saturday night, and I spent it here streaming for you guys. Much love, much admiration, and I'm going to go relax for a little bit. I will actually do a dedicated video on adding sockets to characters, doing a death animation sequence, what have you. Because all these other animations that weren't used in the animation blueprint are not going to work. Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, I told you I'd set up death stuff. I can show the basics of, like, taking death 1. We have to retarget this. Even though we've already done a retarget and we've got armed animation blueprint, these are the only ones that were copied over. Jump from jog, jump from stand, and it's hip fire hold. It's not actually shooting. It's not. You got all these freaking animations that are in here. There's like 60 of them, but only a small select handful are actually used right now. So if you want to be able to use the prone or the bring your weapon to your shoulder or death animations, I'll show you tomorrow once I get some rest. I'm wearing down. Plus I'm having some throat issues. I don't want to talk about that though. But showing how to retarget and also to create an animation montage. Animation montages are gonna, the more you learn about them, the better you're gonna be. You got death 1, 2, and 3. We could complicate our death sequence by having 3 different death animations for these. But you have also death from Iron Sight. There's also prone death as well, I believe. Prone to stand, and I think there should be a stand to prone. So you got prone reloads, prone idle, prone fire, prone death. So we want to be able to drop into the prone position as well. But there's one downfall to that. It's cool that we can go from standing, drop down to the prone position. That's great. We can idle. That's awesome. But we can't move. We can't low crawl. It's kind of weird that we can do all this, but we can't low crawl. We can drop down to the prone, we can shoot, and we can reload, and we can get back up. Get reload pistol, reload rifle hip. If we just kept the hip fire, then cool. But we'll talk about all that, setting up animations, animation montages, and things of that nature. But definitely look into doing animation montages for all your stuff. I think what you were talking about, you were having problems with earlier. I think if you changed over to an animation montage, and I had videos, video the other day about doing, let's do a quick save, and I'll open up that project. Setting up emote system. If you look at that, you'll learn about setting up your animation montages. Where the hell am I scrolling? So many freaking assets. Um, yeah, right here. So with the emote system, um, setting up the emotes so that they're animation montages and they allow you to do them and then return back to a normal state. If you're doing a death animation, that's different, but let's go to working map because I know nothing really is there. Go in here, we got a character, walk around. If I hit the Q key, it's going to play my default emote. If I hit the F key, I get a little menu here. Should have put a little background in here, and I think I'll do that really quickly. But I can change it, and it'll give me a demo. Hit exit. So now my default is him doing push-ups. That's actually 3 separate animations in one montage. Let's see, I can do it as a default now. So, and then after it completes the montage, I go back to normal. If I do the animation, I can no longer move. It stops me from moving. It forces me to do that, and whenever I'm done, then I can start moving again. So, yeah, watch the video on setting up the emote system, and it will show you how to create the animation montages and be able to convert them and that kind of stuff. All I do is grab an image, anchor to top right, tint, try that, and we need to change our Z order to -5. And let's put it up here. Oh, this is just going to give me a little background right there. So now, as we're playing, the F key, it's a little easier to see. But whenever I hit the thing, it forces me into that. So now, facepalm. But with that, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and clear out of here. So, bye. Good night, everyone. We will see you soon.